This is going to be beautiful.
You with the shit.
The Graham Norton Show consistently delivers strong lineups and memorable moments by bringing all of its guests together on the famous red sofa to promote their projects while also interacting, reacting and talking as a group. This shared format allows conversations to overlap naturally and creates natural conversations that wouldn't occur in the traditional one-to-one interview setup, favoured by other late-night shows. Now the secret formula behind the success has finally been revealed. Speaking on the Rest is Entertainment podcast with Richard Osman and journalist Marina Hyde, Norton's longtime producer Graham Stuart explained how the red sofa is carefully engineered for chemistry and why seat 1, right next to Norton himself, is the most sought-after spot in British television.
I had to audition, and in fact, I was very much unwanted. Richard Curtis, after the audition, did everything in his power to stop me getting the part. And it was a very traumatic audition. I remember going and for some reason it was at the Jim Henson studio, you know, where they make the Muppets. And we were actually in this great big studio, and so I was auditioning in front of director, producer, writer, and 50 full-size Muppets.
According to Graham Stuart, seat 1, the chair directly next to Graham Norton himself, is the most sought-after spot. He describes it as a big-ticket item, with publicists actively fighting in inboxes to secure it for their clients, during what is often a long and competitive process. With each episode packed with high-profile guests, negotiations over who has the biggest star power can take time. Who ends up sitting in seat 1 is largely publicist-driven and is typically the primary objective when a client is booked onto the show. The position guarantees the most face time on camera, the most direct interaction with Norton, and the clearest opportunity to guide the conversation. For stars promoting a film, tour, or album, it is the safest and most effective place to be, and the value of the seat is reflected in who has recently occupied it. In the 2025-2026 season alone, Taylor Swift, Julia Roberts, Emma Thompson, and Hugh Jackman have all sat in seat 1. Once the first placement is confirmed, hierarchy based on fame largely disappears. The remaining guests are not arranged by notoriety, but by chemistry, allowing the conversation to move naturally across the sofa and keeping the focus on creating memorable interactions.
Was there a moment when you kind of knew the Voldemort look was working when you were on set? And you met her?
Yeah, I passed by the script supervisor, had a little boy who was on set.
His son, maybe?
Her son, I think, for 5 years old. Anyway, I passed by this little child. I just looked at this boy. He just burst into tears.
The Graham Norton Show's middle seats are all about chemistry, not status. Executive producer Graham Stuart continues highlighting the chat show's secret formula by revealing that the middle seats are based on banter potential. Guests are placed next to whoever will create the strongest storytelling moments and chemistry. The aim is to keep the conversations flowing naturally and allow moments to develop organically between guests. The most recent season, 33, has had some brilliant pairings. Emily Blunt paired with Matthew McConaughey, Ben Stiller alongside Kate Hudson, and Timothée Chalamet seated next to Rowan Atkinson. Combinations designed around contrast, charisma, and conversational spark. Guests in these seats are encouraged to react to one another, jump into stories, and occasionally take the reins from Norton himself. This is also where some of the show's most memorable moments are born, particularly when guests from very different worlds are seated together. The unpredictability often leads to genuine surprise, visible amusement, and even times when people appear slightly starstruck by their fellow guests. Few guests embody the drama of the middle seats more than Miriam Margolyes, a longtime favourite of the Graham Norton Show. Across multiple appearances, she has delivered some of the programme's most talked about stories, often leaving the rest of the sofa stunned and the audience in stitches. Her appearance alongside Glenn Close and Alexander Skarsgård was no exception, as she once again dominated the conversation while promoting her memoir, The Little Book of Miriam. The comedian shared the scandalous anecdote involving her helping to pleasure men in Edinburgh, Scotland. The story was so outrageous that it left her fellow guests stunned. Skarsgård then revealed that he had once considered renting a room from her and joked about worrying that she fancied him, to which she responded matter-of-factly that she is gay and has been with her partner for 58 years. On another appearance, she told a story about how her house in Dover, England, was unknowingly rented out by a gang from Liverpool to store and transport £13 million worth of cocaine into Europe. Margulies shows exactly why the middle of the sofa is so important. By pairing guests with the potential for the most compelling chemistry, the Graham Norton Show allows personalities to collide in unexpected ways that produce genuine surprise, humour, and unforgettable television moments.
They were just exhausted. The whole crew, they were slumped, they were tired, they were fed up. And I thought, I've got to do something to cheer them up. Because when you see people in that state and you know you're going to be working with them, and I thought, I know what I can do. And so I stood up there and I just lifted up my top and tore off my bra and my bosoms, which are large and friendly, and I just gave them to them, and it made them happy.
The final seat on the Graham Norton Show is the right-hand side of the sofa, and the spot furthest away from Graham himself, but that doesn't mean it isn't important. In fact, Graham Stuart shares with the Rest is Entertainment podcast that this is carefully reserved for comedians or performers who know how to play the game. From this angle, guests can watch the rest of the sofa guests, react in real time, and deliver knowing glances or subtle asides to the audience. Almost as if they're in the office. It's a unique position that allows for jokes, commentary, and comedic interruptions, almost saying, "get a load of this," to the audience, without dominating the main conversation. Recent episodes include comedian John Bishop, the inspiration behind Will Arnett's latest film Is This Thing On. He builds on jokes made by the rest of the sofa, including saying how much he loves Mean Girls, and Rachel McAdams, after Chris Hemsworth did it first from seat 1. Musician Lewis Capaldi is another famous example of making the most of the seat on the right-hand side. He managed to steal moments even in the presence of major stars like Taylor Swift and Oscar winner Cillian Murphy. Joining the sofa after performing his track Something in the Heavens, he recounted a previous conversation with fellow guest Jodie Turner-Smith while she was heavily pregnant. He joked about having once sworn at her baby bump and asked, "I've often wondered if your child's first word was," before delivering an outrageous C-bomb. Jodie quickly reassured him, "I wondered if it would be that too. Thankfully, it was Mama." The exchange was chaotic, hilarious, and very Graham Norton Show. Clips of the incident went viral, showing how the right-hand seat, even when it only has a guest for a short time, can come with unpredictability and some of the best moments. With all of the careful planning, the show's success really comes down to one thing: Graham Norton himself. The secret seat formula only works because Norton is a master at orchestrating conversations and connecting the dots. He knows when to ask the right questions, when to step back, and how to let guests interact in ways that spark viral moments. The sofa is designed to set the stage, but Norton's skill at balancing personalities and guiding the flow is what transforms a lineup of stars into truly must-watch television.